All right, good evening, good morning, everyone. Paul Alcoholic. Let me see, I'm trying to get the squares. I think Mike just brought up a thing about relapse. And one thing I wanted to start first is again to reiterate this is just basically presenting a hypothesis concerning the exact nature of the wrong, and then looking from that diagnosis, using it as the lens to look at all the steps and the principles. It's not about changing principles or steps. It's just how they would look if you were looking at it from this diagnosis of the exact nature of the wrong. So, in my feeling, the exact nature of the wrong is really a mental activity that's going on. And that mental activity is assuming many things about the object of the mental activity. And in a way, we start living the mental interpretation and we lose the sense of being alive, so to speak. And the more and more we're fed the interpretation, the more and more what's feeding it sounds like us. So there's the act of being identified as what I'm saying is the foreign agent or the pathogen or a parasitical movement. It's not a parasite per se. You can't see it, but it has a parasitical movement. So based on that, we try to look at some of the statements in the big book. And one of them, before we get into the relapse, is in the foreword, which is the declaration that we are 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. I really like the word seemingly there. It sounds like he didn't even need to, but to be really specific about what's going on, it was incredibly important. Because seemingly means it appears to be true or false to us. Yeah. So once again, we have a role in everything, in the disease and everything. And that role is taking false evidence to appear real. Yeah. False evidence can't be real, but it can appear to be real to us. Yeah. The same thing. A seemingly hopeless state of mind and body is not a hopeless state of mind or body. It's a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, which means it's determined on how it's appearing to us. Yeah? So its hopelessness is dependent on how it appears to us. So obviously, when we're in the throes of active alcoholism and addiction, and a lot of us, like when I was involved in it all, I had no idea of AA, really. It's like it never came up. And it was, it's such a weird thing. The exact thing I needed seemed to be not even on the screen, so to speak. So when I was out there, obviously, based on the behaviors that were occurring and my reactions to things, I was based on the fact that I had a hopeless state of mind and body, so basically, fuck it. If it's a hopeless state of mind and body, I want to forget that as much as possible, and I have some means that seem to help, which is getting loaded, and whatever that means to you, that getting loaded would distract me from the hopeless state of mind and body I seem to be in. Who wants to have that hanging over one's head? So, but in fact, all along that whole time, when that behavior was so extreme and the isolation was so deep and that sense of complete, incomprehensible demoralization, those were all based on the assumption that it was a hopeless state of mind or body, really. Yeah. And the whole point is before that, not after that, but before that is this idea of the seemingly so. So that hopeless state of mind and body isn't really a hopeless state of mind and body, as many of us have experienced, because we still seem to have what they call alcoholism, but our living or our relationship with it or how we're living under it has changed dramatically. where to some of us, the problem doesn't even exist for us today. So that's an incredible solution to a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. For it to really be seen as not existing for me today is unbelievable. Turnaround. So the seemingly is something that the whole idea of being what you're not is based on seemingly so. The whole thing is seemingly. The whole thing is appearing to be true or false to me. The same advertising that was going on in my head while I was using, the same advertising was based on false evidence, but it was appearing real most of the time. Yeah, and therefore my behaviors and my reactions and my actual emotional, mental, and physical conditions were based on that false evidence being real. Yeah, that's incredible to me. And now that same evidence appearing in my head doesn't appear real to me anymore. Yeah, so it doesn't inspire an action, and the action is what gets me tattooed with the consequences. Yeah. The thoughts have their disruptiveness, they're producing an unease and discomfort, but they really need to be coupled with an action to really have an effect, yeah? I mean, I'm not going to get a 30-year sentence for having the thoughts I'm having today. But if those thoughts motivated a certain behavior, I may be facing a 30-year sentence based on what happened. So there needs to be like a retaining wall, and obviously you can't isolate yourself in a retreat circumstance for 24/7 for year after year. There is some volatility and unsuspecting results that happen when you're living outside an institution, but in a way I need a confining wall or retaining wall that keeps the thoughts in, yeah? And don't allow them to provoke an action. Usually they blast off from the platform of fuck it. And when that happens, then the actions entangle me in consequences, court cases, fucking broken marriages, whatever. That what does it do? It occupies my time. It occupies time. And it's almost as if there's a step, I step onto flypaper, and then every other step ensures I'm more stuck on the flypaper than the one that started it. So the great relief from the thoughts is because no actions follow them, yeah? That's an incredible relief right there. Now the thoughts, not being able to extend themselves, may turn on the audience of the thoughts. But I'm telling you something, if you start seeing thoughts as not yours, you're going to lose interest in them. It's just that freaking simple. Because everything here is based, our interest and attention on things is based on their relationship to me. Yeah. The more relating to me, the more the thoughts have more power and more emphasis. You have to see the glue isn't the thought, it's the ownership of the thought, the mind. Yeah, I mean, these are the exact natures, these are the causes and conditions. The causes and conditions of the irritable restlessness and discontent aren't produced by thoughts. The thoughts are used to produce it. What produces it is the ownership of the thoughts. Yeah, we're not seeing the thoughts as being generated from a disease point or a diseased mental state. We're seeing them as ours. Yeah, and that's the bondage of self. The bondage of self is when an action or a thought or a feeling is constantly seen as ours. Therefore, there's the ownership, and that gives us a lot of very limited possibilities, really. Either we may have pride in the action and pride in the thought, or we may have shame and guilt from the action and the thought. And I would say most of the actions and thoughts directed by alcoholism end up on the guilt and shame point. Yeah, they're not producing much pride and a sense of well-being. They're producing guilt and shame because we didn't do what we thought we should do, and we've done shit we thought we shouldn't. So, I mean, I just want to look at causes and conditions and the exact nature of the wrong. Because I don't think the people in AA had got to that point. They hadn't in the beginning. The people, the most they had was 4 years of sobriety when the book came out, yeah? I mean, more has been revealed to us, and it hasn't been revealed about the steps or the principles. They've been sound from the get-go. I believe the diagnosis of the dilemma has become clearer. I do. So, just want to throw that in there. And then the idea of relapse. I've never had a relapse. My relapses were before I got into recovery. I had relapses from involuntary sobriety, being in a program for 3 months, and then being in another program for 2 years. And after I left those programs, I relapsed and started using again. But I've never had a relapse in AA, thank God. And what I believe, again, a relapse can be a super drag, or it can be used to lead to a convincing of our condition. Yeah? It has, because what's before it, which is what we are, is going to give the meaning to it. So it could further along years of suffering and never coming back into recovery, or it can sort of galvanize being convinced about the first step. Yeah? So therefore it has value or it doesn't. It doesn't mean it never has value, or it doesn't mean it always has value. It's the mind, or if you want to call it the person before it, yeah? So the person before the relapse, that mind of that person is going to give meaning to the relapse. And I've seen it be the final exclamation point to someone's life, and they've been sober ever since. So again, there's something going on here that you can't understand if you take yourself to be a thing and just this little 6'1" action figure that came and you don't even remember that and is going to go, and you'll never remember when you leave. I don't see that. A lot of the people I know, they're not seeing the power that we represent, that we give everything the meaning it has, that things can seemingly look like they're so or not so to us, and based on the condition of us. And what I found, what the program of Alcoholics Anonymous has done has changed the condition that is my basis. And I realized the futility of the system trying to change itself. It doesn't work. So through the intermediary of the program, some power that's not contained in self-centeredness, that's not doesn't have a beginning and end, is not programmed, it's not malfunctioning, but it is an inherent state. Let's say it's the source of grace, or whatever you want to call it, is always available at all times. And having moved from trusting something finite to trusting something infinite, that is giving my life meaning now. And the meaning it's giving it is completely different than the parasite gave it. Yeah? And following the meaning that I see life as now leads me to enjoy peace of mind, to understand serenity, to be of service, yeah? To let bygones be bygones, to realize everything's not all about me, to be in a sense of humility concerning my role here, and how much I do and how much something does for me or through me. That wasn't produced or achieved or arrived at by Paul. It was in spite of Paul, really. It nudged Paul out. I lost interest in Paul, and I gained interest in all this other stuff. I didn't gain interest in you as Paul. I lost interest in Paul, and then I gained interest in you. Yeah, Paul did not gain interest in you. It didn't. Paul is exactly like it was, a self-centered point of view, yeah, who's more socialized now because it's been restrained by the program of AA for 32 years. But left to its own devices and put in a certain situation, it would be just as rabid as it always was, which is it would see everything as a threat to it, losing what it has or not getting what it wants, and he'd act accordingly. No matter how much social training it's been given, if push came to shove, it would fucking start shoving. It would. But something has been diminished, that idea of Paul, and that which has been emphasized is what gives interest to others, yeah? Because it is also that which lost interest in Paul. That's the point, yeah? Paul did not lose interest in Paul. That spirit has lost interest in Paul. Why? Because it's seen all the thoughts that imply Paul aren't its. They're just thoughts. You've shared them. I've shared them. We go to AA meetings, and it's obvious after a few months listening to other people share about their feelings, their thoughts, and their behaviors, you can only come to two conclusions. How did these people get my thoughts? Or they're not my thoughts. I mean, obviously, if Jim, Joe, Bill, and Melanie are having my thoughts, that gives the private ownership has been blown out of the water. And that's where the relief started to happen. When I first started calling a lot of thoughts alcoholic thoughts, that's how I gave them the foreign brand. You know, that's how I gave them the Made in China stamp. Yeah, but then it extended to all thoughts. Yeah, it wasn't just alcoholic thoughts. They're all the thoughts. They're not mine. Yeah, they're generated by the same program that's generating the thoughts where you are. Except some of us, it's in different languages. Some are in English, some are in French, but it's the same. Yeah. So if they're not my thoughts, I immediately start losing interest in them. I do. Just like if I'm sitting here and there's a pretty woman who I'd like to meet is in another room running a meeting or something, and I'm really keen on meeting her because I think she's going to do for me what I can't do for myself. Have babies, love me, take care of me, she's rich and shit. So my interest and attention, or the interest, is really on listening to what she's saying in the other room, and I'm hoping she's going to say, hey, I really like Paul, that guy Paul in the other room. So then I'll run into her, you know, in the hallway, and, oh, let's have a cup of coffee. You know? So there I am, people are watching me in the meeting, and they're going, Paul doesn't even seem to be here today. So they say, hey, Paul, why don't you be here? I said, okay, but my head's way in the other room. Then they bring me a book and how to lose interest in a conversation in another room. I read the principles, I understand it, but the interest is about that lady saying, hey, I like Paul. Finally, she starts speaking. I'm really keen on it. And she says, I really like this guy, Matt. Now, what happens? As soon as I hear it's about Matt, I lose interest, yeah? I didn't have to send like a Navy SEAL 6 team to, you know, extract my attention from the other room. I lose interest in it because it's not about me. Exactly. That's the same. That's how it works. You start questioning all that shit that's framed as yours, and when you see it's not yours, there's a loss of interest in it. There is. So now the thoughts are not so beguiling as they used to be. The thoughts haven't changed. You just have distance between you and the thoughts because they're not you. They're not yours. Yeah, the same thing with feelings, and hopefully it will lead to a relief in the behaviors that you used to do. At least the review of your past when you were under the influence, because it's so damn obvious that when I drank or used, I was apt to do almost anything. I mean, there was no volition in it, yeah? I mean, as soon as I put the drugs or the alcohol in me, fucking I was off, yeah? Unless you could physically stop me. And that's usually when my runs ended. They would be I'd have an intervention by the police and I'd be put in jail. And then I'd finally stop. And then as soon as I got out, it was the fucking parasite used me again. So it was obvious I didn't do that shit. I'm accountable for that shit, but I didn't do it. It's like, you know, I have a dog. The dog roamed over to the neighbor's lawn, took a big shit. The neighbor calls me up. I didn't know the dog did it. calls me up, said, hey, your dog took a big shit over here. I go, oh, I'm sorry, you know. I go back over there, clean it up. I don't have 30 years of guilt about my dog taking a shit. It's not me. I didn't take a shit. The dog did. I'm accountable because it's my dog, but I'm not responsible for the fucking dog. You know what I mean? It had to take a shit. So basically, yeah, all right, I didn't like going over there, but it's dropped in about an hour. If I own it, it fucking festers for 40 years. It's insane. So this whole point is, how do you lose interest in self as self? You can't. That's just more interest. You lose interest in what represents self by seeing it's not you, really. Telling you the truth. So, all right, back to relapse. Thank God I've never had the relapse in recovery. But again, I believe it's gonna matter to the mind that's before it. Yeah, it can be the next stepping stone to being convinced of step one. And I believe as long as you live through it, whatever happens to you to bring you to that first step, conviction of believing with certainty, I'm all for it. Yeah, I'm not a big believer in trying to keep people from their bottoms. I'm not. Yeah. It's much more valuable if they finally get convinced, as long as they don't die or shit, and then be done with this fucking thing, and then live a sober life from that point on. So yeah. And the thing Mike said is like he doesn't know how to be of help. That's the greatest way to be of help, is not know how to be of help. Just show up and see what happens. Yeah. And then you'll start seeing something is doing for you what you can't do for yourself, and hopefully you'll make a note of it, and you'll start marking the journey from trusting something finite to trusting something infinite. There'll be a lot of markers along the way to validate you're on the right path. They will. You just have to honor them. Because I'll tell you, the head will forget a miracle in a half an hour, but will remember a perceived slight for 50 years. It's a very biased GPS. It's not on an even objective plane. Yeah, it has an agenda that you may not be aware of, and it usually we end up being alone and right, basically. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Sorry for my knee. Yes.
Right now, you could paint a famous face on that. So we've got Glasgow. Is it Glasgow NA? You're up, mate. You're on. Glasgow, nah. Glasgow.
My name's Donald. I'm an alcoholic. Thanks for letting me in. And I was listening to your share, and you spoke about who owns the thoughts. Who actually owns the thoughts we get? Well, my first thought is, where do the thoughts come from? Well, sometimes I have to step over homeless people in Glasgow. Not always men. Sometimes I have to step over homeless women begging in the street, and sometimes give me uncomfortable thoughts. God, it gives me the thoughts. I live alone. I've not had any alcohol for 24 years. So, but God doesn't give enough money to provide for it. He gives me enough. I've got a part-time wage. God gives me enough money to take a girl out for a meal, or maybe go for a 3-day holiday, but He doesn't give me enough money to provide shelter and education for children. So is God providing the thoughts? Is the universe providing the thoughts? Or is it coming from homeless people? Is it the thoughts coming from people with alcohol issues who don't want to go to Alcoholics Anonymous? There is a saying in Britain, in Scotland, that Alcoholics Anonymous is not for people who need it, but it's for people who want it. So personally, sometimes I have to ask for the willingness to stay sober. And you also mentioned the word diminished. So if I get bad thoughts and if I act out, who owns the thoughts? Who owns the decision? If I get a violent thought, who owns the decision to act out in that violent thought? And me. Again, I live alone, but if I lived with a wife and 3 children, the thoughts might have, the wife might own the thoughts. what else? So that's
Sorry,
me
mate,
dealt with it.
just get cut in there, mate. This is a question and answer thing. I think I sort of mentioned that at the top, so it's sort of on what Paul spoke. So if you want to have a share afterwards, we can have fellowship afterwards. We can have a chat, but it's more on
Well, the
question.
question is who owns the decision? Who owns it? We get the thought. Who owns the decision to whether to act out on the thoughts or not?
Thank you very much.
See, the system itself, because of self-centeredness is the basis of the system, it can't just see there's thoughts. It always has to see or imply there must be a thinker of them. I just don't see it that way. I just think the brain, whatever the mental states, are receiving thoughts or they're being conjured up there, and then there's a reaction to the thoughts, and there's a sense of claiming to be the thinker of them after. So I believe the idea of being the thinker comes from a recognition, let's say an ignorant recognition of the thoughts. I do not believe there's a thinker, a solitary object that's doing thoughts. I just don't see it that way. Yeah, so I don't care who has the thoughts or not. Yeah. I just see thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. And then to see the point is, before when I saw thoughts, they, let's say a lot of it was bringing me false evidence, and it was necessary for a certain convincing for that false evidence to appear real, to the point it would initiate an action. And that's how I believe the parasite works. It talks to us as us through the thought system to attempt to provoke an action, in most cases to lead us to drinking alcohol or doing whatever drugs. And then once it gets that fuel in the system, then basically you're on a run. Yeah. So the relief is obviously before you drink and use. To me, the idea of the program is not starting. Because of the condition of people with alcoholism, a lot of it has to do with stopping, but in fact, the program is about not starting, yeah, in my view. So, and how I started to see the relief I was getting was recognizing that sense of being the feeler, the doer, the thinker as a very suspect assumption. And by weakening those little links, I seem to get stabilized relief. So then I realized how important those links were or are, almost like reverse engineering. So I believe you start getting an idea, or you start getting to the exact nature of the wrong when you get relief from the wrong. Yeah. And the relief from the wrong, in my case, isn't from thoughts, it's from the thinker. It's not from actions, it's from the doer. It's not from feelings, it's from the feeler. The feeler is what gives meaning to feelings. Yeah. I can mistake excitement as depression. I can. I can believe I have a feeling right now, and the reaction to that feeling would be, oh, this is the beginning of a lifelong depression. This is how the system, this is how the disease fucking manipulates us. It tells us a lot of shit that it isn't so. We take it to be so. And then it almost is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah? Strange. But there is a solution. Dave.
Yep. Okay. Great. So, any more hands to go up? I've got a question. You better hurry up and get your hands up because I'll have one. You know where that goes. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Guess who? Paul, guess who? It's our mate. G. Hey, mate.
Thanks,
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. That was a, you know, I love listening to you, Paul. And this isn't something I thought up. This is during your share. I was listening to you and I was entranced when you spoke about going back to being the rabid self. You hurt me, I hurt you. You know, you can still go back to that place, that person. And then you went on, and I was so entranced by it. You went on to describe how the spirit, it's not about you today, and it's about what AA and the spirit has done for you. Now, here's the thing: there's a man who I see in my region of AA meetings. 16 years sober, never worked any steps, maybe 1, 2, and 3. He always shares about, you know, you hurt me, I hurt you. He's always effing and blinding, no program. People love it. People love listening to this guy share. Now, I'm a solution man. The program works, 100% guarantee. You work the steps, and I enjoy listening to you about the spirit and getting rid of self. Why is it people in AA still love listening to this man?
I don't know. I'm not listening to him.
But he, as you described him, you described it, going back to his rabid self. Hasn't had a drink for many years, but gets called to share in big meetings, and alcoholics still enjoy listening to him. No program at all. Been in and out been in the rooms for 16 years.
Yeah.
Well, what is it about the alcoholic mentality that still finds that attractive?
I don't know. I'm not there. But what happens with me at meetings, which I haven't been to a live one in a while, is I don't know how or when it occurred, but the emphasis on what's going on got diminished, and the emphasis of the space got emphasized. Yeah, that's all. So I really like the tradition too, interpreted as a loving God expressing itself through our group conscience. I really feel that at certain meetings. In our case in AA, the sum is so much larger than the parts. Yeah, and I was always surprised when people come in, new people, and they've been coming for a week, and they say, "Oh, it's so incredible to be here. No one's judging me and shit like that," but everyone's fucking judging them. But there's a collectiveness that promotes a love and tolerance. Now, if you took every individual in the room, they would probably be guilty of judging the person who walked in. But the we in our society overrides the I, yeah? The me. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, yeah? So if you took a meeting and there'd be 30 people there, you could probably say 28 of them are assholes in a way. Yet when we're together, we're used to produce a sweet perfume, yeah? That's the overriding power that I sense in AA, is that presence, yeah? That presence. My girlfriend, she's not in the program. She's not an alcoholic or an addict. She's like others. They're amazed. She's amazed that I still go to those meetings after 32 years. But I don't. It's like I go to. She may think it's a store, but I don't go there to buy anything. Yeah, I'm just going there. I like the sitting in the we, and the sense that presence. And I find it's so it's like the access is so wide over time, I feel. As soon as you walk in, you can park yourself there, and you sense an ease and comfort to me. It's awesome. I mean, where else could you find that? And if you did, you'd pay up through the nose, really, yeah, in life. This is what's going on. So I don't see AA as the individual parts. I sense AA as the collective sum, that we generate a different sense than all the individual eyes do. Yeah, and I feel that is the grace that comes through recovery. And I really believe recovery is a basis of grace. There's places in America, a place called Arizona and Sedona, where they have these little zones near these rock formations that when you go in there, you feel it different. The energy, it's like a vortex or something. So people come from all around the world to go to these little vortexes to feel this shift in like how it, just feeling. And yet we have that, the possibilities there. I'm not saying every meeting delivers it, but it's deliverable at any meeting and every meeting. See, you can't categorize that or put a number on it. It's just the grace. And if we've been lucky enough to be struck sober or became sober and have a clear understanding, it has nothing to do with us, really. I mean, not as just the jargon of recovery, but really an intimate sense of realizing how incomprehensibly demoralized you actually were, and that the love of my mother couldn't do it. The whole congregation praying for me seemingly couldn't do it, but something did. Something put out that radioactive isotope of urge and just produced a solution that I never found anything like in this world in my short time here. I mean, I would dismiss how I use the word solution after the experience I've had in AA. To me, this is a real solution where the problem doesn't exist for you anymore. I just blows my mind. So sorry for the knee. It just blows my mind completely. So believe it or not, the thoughts we're listening to are not ours. The feelings come and go, are produced or incited by a lot of shit we have nothing to do with. Yeah. And the actions, I know the whole court system believes this, I know the parents believe it, that every action that issues out of this body is mine, that there's a Paul in there that did all these things. I beg to differ with you. I don't believe it, out of my own observation and looking at my past. Yeah? And for some reason or another, I think this information really came after I had the relief. The relief told me about the problem. It did. Yeah? Now, I'm not saying if it's correct or not. I'm just putting it out there with the hopes that maybe, just maybe, it will work with you, and you'll start, instead of having a very precarious condition of okayness, you'll have a very stabilized condition of okayness so that you can face what happens throughout the day and travel lighter through it, yeah? And then be an example of that possibility to other people who are traveling incredibly heavy, yeah? And I feel a lot of it because of our role is so important here, that you can have a perfect program, and if the patient has complete disinterest in it, it won't do anything. So we have a role here, yeah? And if that role, if the willingness is there and you come to a point before you die, before you're done on this planet and you're done with this condition, you know, there's a decision made and you're clear that you're fucked, yeah? Based on your own fucking resources, then you may have the same event, and that which you could never have dreamt will maybe stabilized, and you'll be able to enjoy peace of mind, and you'll be of service. You won't have to do service as a way of getting out of self. You'll be out of self sufficiently where you're of service. Yeah, this isn't a static, oh, I don't drink and I don't do drugs. The recovery isn't about that. The recovery is from the underlying causes and conditions and from the exact nature of the wrong. That's where the recovery springs from. Yeah? There's no recovery from not drinking and using. I mean, the recovery is a possibility when you stop drinking and using. Yeah? That's why it's essential to have that abstinence so that the recovery has the opportunity to sort of start doing its thing. Yeah. The exact nature of the wrong isn't outside of us, it's right where we are. Yeah. I mean, we're either an unknowing participant of it or a very knowingly non-participant in it. That's basically the two roles you can play. You can play without knowing it, all this shit's going to occur, or maybe you'll see it before the shit occurs. Yeah. And that's a humble wish that that is an expression of what compels these shares, really. Yeah. I feel a lot of the heaviness concerning life. Yeah, we have what's going to happen. Like I got run over by a car twice in one night. That hasn't changed. And its effects on my physicality haven't changed. Yeah, they've changed because I travel lighter through it. But life's going to do what it's going to do. But really, the huge player is us on how it seems to see, how it appears to us to be. I mean, I was in the hospital in the where all the broken bones are. So I was with a lot of people from motorcycle accidents and when after I got run over, and vaguely tracking everyone. There was different responses to the severity of the accidents we went through. Some people became alcoholics then. Some people killed themselves. Some people went off and became a great teacher and became a doctor. The after doesn't have to define what's before it. What's before it can find expression through the after, yeah? And I just feel the disease places us behind the 8 ball. We don't see what's going on. And therefore we're at the effect of what's not being noticed. Well, I think that can change if you can start seeing it. And maybe instead of looking so hard to become spiritual, you'll see from spirit. Yeah, it's much more of a relaxed view. Yeah. So thanks, Dave. Yeah.
Cheers, G. James, you had your hand up there, mate, but it's fallen down. Are you going to come back in?
Yeah, well, it's just been such a great meeting. I keep getting stimulated to want to share, but I'd hate to derail it too. And I just had my breath taken away by what was just shared. And I can't repeat it because it didn't go through James. It went somewhere else. You know what I mean? It was awesome. So I just thanks. And I don't really want to take up the space. I just, all of a sudden I hear Nick's voice, Starve That Questioner. And I will say this about the relapse. I think where I live, sometimes it's like this. It reinforces this idea that you got to do this perfectly, and you know you relapse, and then you have to do this walk of shame to get your white chip and start from scratch. And I'm glad I have a sponsor that took me through the book enough to know that there's nothing like that in the first 164 pages of the big book. And I also know there's a pamphlet that where Bill Wilson said that sometimes a relapse can be of great value. And I think it can take you from trying to get days and years to just trying to do minutes, where doing minutes is the deal anyway. You know, you do them hard at first, but after a while you're just doing minutes, and they're, you know, it's like Paul says, it's a lighter deal. So anyway, I'll shut up with that, but thanks for letting me share the space. I appreciate it.
James, it's great. It's always great to see you here. Yeah. You're a major part of all this. Yeah. The Zooms.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So, all right. So, there's no more questions for the moment. So, anyone want to raise your hands? It's a big opportunity. So, I guess I'll come back in. I just wanted to oh no, Luke to the rescue. Hey, Luke, how you doing, mate?
Good, yeah, thank you. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I was reluctant to come in on the relapse thing, and that's strange, really.
Can you speak up, mate?
Can you hear me now? Is that
Yeah,
better?
yeah.
I was reluctant to come in on the relapse thing, and that's kind of interesting, really. In the area where I live, it's quite a contentious point, and I think it might have to do with the fellowship as well. In Cocaine Anonymous, relapse is really quite prevalent. I guess that what we often see is that people, they feel like they fix up quite quickly, because with cocaine there's not the same physical implications as there are with heroin and alcohol, so that they almost feel like they're good to go after 3-4 days, and like, oh, I'm fine, I'm doing well, I'm kind of this program's already working for me, before any work's really been done. So the issue of relapse comes up a lot, and there are different kind of camps that point towards, for instance, like the jaywalker and not a cloud on the horizon, you know, those kind of relapses. And I would say to the level of being kind of fixated in a way, to the point where that what they see that is alcoholism rather than any of the kind of selfing stuff. So I'm not sure what the question is, but from this perspective, I see it as, you know, it's an accumulation of kind of selfing over time, and then the thin end of the wedge will look like some of that chapter 3 stuff, you know, jaywalking type stuff. But there's obviously a lot more going on there, whereas some people just want to focus on the bullet rather than the gun, just what the relapse looks like, you know. Mm-hmm. Can you speak on that?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of ways of looking at the same thing. Yeah. Now there isn't any rigid the way. You have to find what works for you. Yeah. Some people come into recovery and they're able now to, you know, enjoy holiday picnics without creating a ruckus and shit like that, and now they can have a viable relation with another person and maybe start a family, and that's what it is, and it's black or white. Yeah, and that's beautiful. Exact same. Other people, that's not going to work for them. They're going to still have an irritability, restless, discontent. You know, there's going to be a lot of thorns sticking out, and so they're compelled to dive deeper into to recovery. They have to, or because so basically, what works for one person doesn't work for the other. Now, to me, the rigidity is in the steps and principle. Yeah, those are sound. But then how we go about living is up to interpretation. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of times, if people are sharing intellectually, the next person wants to dumb it down. You know, let's keep it simple and whatever. Yeah, and so a lot of stuff goes on. Yeah, but it's up to you. See, we all have the same condition, but what condition the condition is in is different. Yeah, and so some people need, like where I live, a lot of men enter like stag meetings, and it's sort of like a military boot camp. Yeah, they dress with ties, and you can tell they're from the same group when they go out to share. And you could see it, you may see it, that it's mostly fear based. Yeah, of we can never go back out. Yeah, and so that fear works for some people. Other people, that works for maybe a year or two, and then they have to outgrow it. Yeah, so this is the point. You can't. It's not one size fits all, because really the underlying addiction is much more chameleon-like. Yeah, it just doesn't find expression through drug use and alcohol use. It's finding expression in a lot of things, shopping, everything like that. So. That's what we're recovering from. We're not recovering from drinking and using. We're recovering, obviously, from the causes and condition that leads us to see drinking and using as essential or necessary. Yeah? Yeah. So, I don't want to side on one side or the other. I think AA can be big enough to include all of it. And hopefully, when you go in there, you find the right niche that works for you, or the right kind of sponsor that works for you, and yet be open that those conditions may change. You may not need a drill sergeant for 30 years. Yeah, you may not. Yeah, you may need something else. So I would say AA is limber enough to supply everything. Yeah, I really feel that way. And then, of course, the mental state for some has a fundamentalist leaning, yeah? They want to have or puritanical or whatever. That's just happens everywhere, yeah? Yeah. What fucks up AA is the people in it, really. Everything else. It's just the way it goes. Yeah, we can't seem to get out of our own way. Yeah, so... Yeah, AA is an incredible way of life, and some people make it harder than others. Yeah, so whatever. So, I see relapse as an incredible opportunity. I mean, after it's already done, I know the head, that power that I'm intimate with, would make the most out of it. Yeah, if the relapse already has occurred, it's gonna produce being convinced out of there, and it will galvanize the person's desire to be of service, and then that person will use that terrible relapse to help other people. That's how I see the power here. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. So everything, to me, recovery, AA is the greatest recycling plant of all. Yeah? If you're willing to give up what you think is yours over to it, it's going to find value in all that shit that you didn't find any value in, looking at it from the disease's point of view. Yeah, it is. It's going to put to use with shit you've been trying to avoid for years. It's going to put to use, and it will show you how wrong you've been. And that's like a hallelujah. Yeah? Yeah. So...
Cheers, Luke. So, Erica, you're on mute.
Hi, I'm actually Maggie. I can't change my name.
I'll do it for you. No
No,
worries.
it's my bad.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Paul. My life is forever changed since I started coming here, and I'm just barely able to, like, you know, comprehend it, but I just keep being drawn back, and it's good. And I'm just beginning to see where this self, where it runs me, and kind of step back and see it's not real. And then so sorry, I'm having a hard time saying. So I find myself, especially right now, being super protective of who I'm around and what I hear. And I have a lot of people calling me with a lot of shit that I know isn't real. And I want to say, stop calling me. But then that must mean that I don't really believe I'm not really solid in this new way of thinking, because I'm so fearful that somebody's going to come in with all this negativity and fear, and I'm going to lose it again, and I'm going to relapse. You know, talk about relapse. For me, that relapse is relapsing back into the reliance on that parasite as being everything. So is that something, I don't know if the word should, but like, you know, to protect yourself from that, from other people's.
Yeah, for now, if you just have to get a little, let's say, artistic with it, yeah.
Autistic or artistic?
Artistic, like make it. You become a smooth operator, so to speak. Yeah. So a lot of times I get calls and I can keep it to 30 seconds. I wanted to become a psychiatrist or a psychologist, one or the other. And my specialty was going to be on what's not happening. And so the people would think they were paying for an hour interview or session, and all I have to do is work one day. I could retire probably. And as soon as Mr. Smith came in and started to bitch about what's not happening, I would say, hey, that's not happening. See you next week, Mr. Smith. So most of the shit that's causing us dis-ease is not happening. Yeah. We believed it did happen, and we really believe it's going to happen, but in fact, it's actually not happening. And if you could just use that as a basic ruler, it really thins out a lot of long phone calls and shit like that. Yeah. And then what I do with people in recovery, and they call me, I ask them to do an inventory first and then get back to me, because I want to hear AA's answer to what they're going through, not their answer to what they're going through. Their answer usually demands a lot of phone calls. But if they would just do the inventory, then call me, it's a much quicker. Because AA will tell you how it sees how you see. Yeah? It's beautiful. So it's a beautiful 4-column little way to go through it. After a while, you don't have to write it. You just do it in your head. And basically, it starts producing a sort of border between what's happening and what's not happening. Yeah? And therefore, you'll be able to tell the difference, because a lot of shit that's happening right now is really rooted in what's not happening. So that can get cut down, and then you're left with what's happening. And it's much easier to travel through what's happening than it is to travel through what's not happening, because anything can be happening in what's not happening. And what's happening is severely limited because the only thing that's happening is what's happening. But that quality of what's happening, what's not happening doesn't have. You know what I mean? If I'm going to be destitute next week, it's not happening. I'm actually in pretty good shape right now. Yeah? So you start being able to respond to what's happening, and it gives you the ability to see a lot of what's not happening. Yeah? And you know, you're the final arbiter, really. You're the final arbiter. I mean, what's happening is presenting its case. You can see it, hear it, feel it, taste it, touch it. And what's not happening is presenting its case. You can only think about it. That's really the deal. Yeah. So you start getting, your life starts getting thinned out, so to speak. And now you find yourself based in what's happening. Yeah. Which you've always been. But usually you've been obsessed with what's not happening. Now you've been weaned off of some of that, and I'm telling you, that's the easier, softer way. Yeah, I know I didn't say directly what you were saying, but take good care of yourself for a while, and then the faith in this message, or what you are, it's not this message, will grow. Yeah, and then you'll see things. You know, sometimes the person needs to talk for 20 minutes and you'll hold the space for that. Other times, they don't need to talk. Sometimes a large part of the disease is observing why you went out after you went out, yeah? Which I don't want to hear from people. I don't. I just tell them to go to a meeting. I don't want to hear their take on why they went out. It didn't help them. They're out. Yeah, they got loaded. I don't want to hear them because I see it as part of the problem. Yeah, so this happens over time. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Maggie. I don't know if I directly went to it, but.
Well, I think it's more specific, like to, well, it just, so this person says, you better get out of your house. It's happening tonight, you know, with everything that's going on. Like you and your daughter, you need to leave and blah, blah, blah. And she's someone who's prone to this kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
And so I'm trying to stay in my intuition. I have a roof. No one's outside my house with a gun right now. My fridge is full. Like I keep bringing myself to that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
maybe don't pick up. Don't answer a call.
Right. And intuitively, I will know if it's time to leave my house.
Yeah.
Like I have to
I would
trust
say
that.
so, yeah. Have you intuitively known in the past things?
I don't know now. Now I think maybe
Well, yes, you have. You've intuitively known in the past, so why wouldn't that be available now?
Yeah.
This is about honoring. See, when things starts changing, honor the system. Honor it. I know I've witnessed the program working and I've honored it. I've seen it happen in big events and small events, and I took notice of that because the mental states case is all based on hearsay and bullshit. Yeah. Yet it will hide the evidence. So your job is to honor the evidence of the new system working, trusting something infinite. That's our job, is to honor it. Yeah. So you'll walk through this, and then it will work. You'll travel lighter, and you'll go, "Wow, that's working," and then it builds on itself. Yeah. This isn't a leap of faith. It's trying to just recognize there's usually a bias observation of everything, and then suddenly you start just having a clearer observation and you see something's working in your life. Yeah? It's just, I mean, you're the vehicle, you're that which gets convinced, and your observation is the vehicle for that which, the convincing. You see something's working. Yeah? you're on to something. So there you go. And then the way of living it, if you have a sponsor, they can help you with the, the way of living it day in, day out. Yeah. But after a while, I don't get any calls from people who want to tell me, oh, did you know so and so got divorced? Because I didn't care if they were married, really. Yeah. So I don't get calls to go off on some thing because the buck would stop here. The car, and it likes to keep going. So they don't call me anymore. They don't. Yeah. I mean, if you're standing by a principle and you're expressing it, after a while, people realize that. And if they're up to something else, if they want to keep the chain of a story going, they're not going to share it with you because it's not going after, from me, it's not going to go to someone else. I'm just not interested in it. Yeah? So here people call you because you used to be interested in a way. Now they haven't changed, but you're changing. So you have to learn a new way of how to deal with them because you're not participating with it anymore. I don't feel like going in this. I don't want to talk about it for hours. Yeah. They'll get the message. Don't worry. The point isn't you. It's like furthering it. It's like, all right, I started a chain. Now everyone knows Marie's getting divorced from Charlie. Yeah? Fucking, yeah. Let's go to another one, Dave.
Okay. There's no hands raised at the moment, so I'm just going to have a break. I'm going to ask a question if nobody does again, and I will. Just wanted to give everyone just to remember, if you haven't been here before, that Paul has, we do 2 of these a week. We do one on Tuesday, as in today, and Thursday at the same time on the same Zoom code. But also Paul does his own sort of more spiritual side of things, which is satsang.
It's not more spiritual.
Well, it's more. It's not. It's sort of less on recovery, isn't it, and more on the spiritual side. I've sort of struggled to describe that really.
Yeah, it's a different one.
So yeah, so that's on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock EST or EDT time, and then on Saturday it's 1:30. On Saturday, which is obviously better for the Europeans among us. So yeah, so all good. And also you can get all his stuff on zenbitchslap.com. You can see all the videos and get all those juicy books and the audio and a lot of the docs and stuff. So it's all really good stuff. So I highly recommend everyone.
Well, remember the book Under Arrest is more about the 12 steps. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other 2 are more about the other topic, non-duality.
Yeah.
And they all end up being about the same thing. But
you haven't been
the
there.
differences are very flimsy. So, where does non-duality start? Where does non-duality stop and recovery start? I don't know. It's hard to
get a neck time. And what about, how's the t-shirts going? The t-shirts available now? We got a new supplier.
Yeah, the t-shirts are doing. I don't know. They're doing pretty. They're taking a while to get them delivered. I forgot which ones I ordered really. So,
okay.
But I'll represent when I get one finally. Yeah. But yeah, we have. That's for the non-duality aspect of it. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, because in non-duality you're given nothing. So I figured I had to throw people a bone, so I give them a t-shirt. So they get something out of it. And I like t-shirts. So I like doing, I like t-shirts, period. So.
It doesn't look a good tee. Anyway, so somebody else has jumped the gun and is going to beat me to my question. Carl,
you had your chance, Dave. You just.
No, but it's, I'm here to host, mate. So Carl, you go, mate.
Hey, Paul.
I'm trying to find.
I've been in recovery for about 5 years, celebrating 5 years in July. And when I first got in the rooms, the fellowship was really important. Like you were mentioning, these ideas that I thought were mine, everyone else seemed to have them as well, so there was a lot of comfort in that. And then I really got into step work, and the problem's been removed. And I've kind of, you mentioned before, you're in the habit where it's not like, am I going to go to a meeting, but which one? And for me, it's, I've kind of lost interest in meetings because a lot of what's shared is not recovery. And I don't know how to find that interest again. So if you can just maybe talk about that.
Well, yeah. Well, the interest again will be because you'll see it from a different place. Yeah. You know what I mean? The old idea of what can I contribute, not what I can take. Yeah. So sometimes just sitting there in the room, you're being of service. Yeah, in my view. So, but hey, find ones that fit you better. Also, there's a lot of different meetings. Yeah, and there are, like where I live, I go to noon meetings when they have them live because I just really love them. There's old timers, and it's just fucking quality's good every meeting. Yeah, Monday, not Monday, Tuesday to Friday. So, and I get fed there. The people, I like their points of view and stuff. So find ones that work for you, and if you find yourself at one that's not working for you, let it work you. Yeah, you'll be put to use. I always feel this loving. Very rarely have I gone to a meeting where I didn't sense that presence. Very rarely. Yeah, of the we. Very, very rarely. So, and that's 32 years of going. So, the batting average is pretty damn good. So I think you'll be able to find a good meeting. And the interest goes. See, to me, let's say like willingness doesn't have to be enthusiastic. Yeah. It may not. Yeah. And I think the habits are what bridges you from where the willingness isn't as willing as it once was, but because you have the habits in place, it spans those periods and keep on keeping on, because you're not going to be willing and enthusiastic for 32 years, probably, yeah? But the habits will really, it's like laying a rail and then the train stays on that rail. So if you have the right habits, you're going to still be involved in AA when the interest gets rearranged or redirected, yeah, which is beautiful. So, but yeah, I know a lot of people have that where they feel like sometimes I've gone to a meeting where the problem is talking about the problem. It's not very attractive. But what I would do is I'd find other meetings. Yeah. Yeah, if you can. Are you in a city?
Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, Savannah, Georgia. See, I don't know the South much, but the city should have more flavors. Yeah. So, yeah. San Francisco is incredible. We have a very thriving, recovery, and then LA is unbelievable also. I go to LA a lot and speak down there, and they have a lot of groups that have gathered together, and they've sort of produced their own formats, and they have satellite meetings. Like this one I'm involved with was called Prime Time, and they have a format where they talk about the problem from the solution, and the problem is self, yeah? And so they have different meetings like meditation meeting, big book studies, but with the same attitude. It's quite good, yeah. And there's a lot of groups like that in recovery, in AA. I mean, in LA. So,
I really appreciate how you,
and start one. You can always start a meeting.
yeah, how you frame the, you know, the 11th step. You know, it tells us to go, you know, find out where religious people are right. You know, and so I found that I left kind of AA on this different spiritual treks, and I like the idea that you saying bring it back into the meetings, because I really feel that at least the ones I go to, you know, lack that that flavor, and so I can't, and I can't, but I just I'm uncomfortable or something. I know it's in me. There's something in me that is.
Yeah, and that's not necessary. Yeah, you can find a meeting or start one, and yeah, you'll be surprised how many like minds there are. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
That's why, like, see, in my case, it wasn't right for me to share in AA. So, from an early age in recovery, I had a chance to lead a workshop, and the workshop turned into its own thing. And we never had it in a schedule. We never had, and we'd always announce, like we do here, that this is not AA. That's how it worked for me. You know, I felt compelled to speak to people, but I had to find the right way to present it in the content of the program and the traditions, yes? So, and it would be funny, we'd have people come in with a lot of time and they'd start yelling, this is not an AA meeting, and I'd have the great opportunity to say, well, if you would have gotten here on time, you would have heard the announcement. It's not an AA meeting. And they go scoffing off and very pissed. But yeah, so I've been lucky. We separated, yeah, and we separate these talks to not to be AA. But it's definitely about recovery, because that's where I'm from. Yeah, so it's been lucky for me. I found a niche. Yeah. Or maybe that disinterest or losing interest in what people were saying could have had more of an effect on my life. But because I had a platform, yeah, and what I wasn't hearing in recovery, I could actually say you know, that it's worked for me. Yeah, so because this was early. I mean, my third year of sobriety, we started to do workshops, and we made sure it wasn't affiliated with AA. You know, that's 29 years ago. That's a long time in a way. So yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel you, brother. That's all I can say. And just, but you know, AA needs people like you. AA needs it. It's the lifeblood. There's going to be a constant download of new information. Yeah, and to me, that's the irrigation of AA. Yes, it needs. And if people sometimes see it in a way, they think it's a threat to the principles and the steps, but it isn't. The principles, the steps are completely sound. Yeah, it's getting to the exact nature of the wrong and opening up to possibilities of how can I improve the conscious contact if I'm not that great with prayer and meditation. You know, are there other ways? So now people are, you know, connecting Buddhism to it. Yeah, I mean yoga and shit. So a lot of things are happening. I had. And this is all coming out of the frustration, really, of people not wanting to leave AA, but they want to have these other modalities accepted in AA. Yeah? So, yeah.
Okay. Hey, Carl, we're going to hang around afterwards. We always hang around for about 10, 15. So if you want to hang about and have a chat, mate, there's like-minded people here probably. So hang about, mate. Next question, and this will be the final one, I think, from Melanie in Leeds.
Let's keep it simple.
Yeah, good evening. Hi. Yeah, it's a short question, but I don't know how long you're going to go on for about it because it's a big subject, I guess. How do you deal with someone that's full of self-pity in early recovery, if you're sponsoring them particularly?
Can you say it again? I just missed the last little bit.
Right. If you're sponsoring somebody in early recovery and the one of the biggest defects is self-pity, how do you deal with that? Because I find it really bloody irritating.
Well, obviously, I would direct them to getting commitments, yeah, and then service commitments also, just to get out of that vicinity. Again, it's another manifestation of self in one's life, pity, yeah. So you have to, if you're outmatched by it, you need to take some steps, physical movement, and be in the situation where you're of service, so you lose interest in yourself at least a little. Yeah. The self-pity is driven by interest, obviously. So by pointing the action figure to another task outside of itself of service, it will actually, the interest and attention will be drawn off the shit like flies, and then the person will feel a little better, and maybe they'll start seeing the self-pity not from self-pity but from another view, and they'll see it as a defect or something that's actually not working for them, and then they could start applying 6 and 7 when they start seeing it. Yeah. So you have, hey, I'm probably ready to have this, which is, let's say, the basic substance of self-pity removed or reconfigured, and I ask that power to do it. So now, this is what the program's for. The steps are for a reclaiming of the material and having that material reconfigured so it becomes of maximum use to us and to others through us. Yeah, that's the job. So our job is to see what needs to be brought up. I mean, the shit's coming up. We gotta get in the habit of putting that shit on a plate and offering it to the higher power, which is the activity of step 6 and 7. Yeah.
But what if they're in denial of that?
Well, you can just point that out to them, and I'm telling you, sooner or later, if they stick with the program, they're going to see it from a different position. Yeah. If they're looking at it from self-pity, they must think they're right, yeah, and it's justified and whatever. But the whole program is going to lift you out of that and give you a view of it from not it. Yeah, that's the whole point of recovery. You see the same thing from a different point of view. Yeah. You see your role in it. So she'll see her role in self-pity instead of everyone else's role that she's very clear about in the self-pity. She'll see her role in it. Yeah. And that's the possibility of recovery. You're not going to convince everyone else to behave differently, but there's something in you can change for sure. So my job as that is to give the suggestions. If she doesn't or he doesn't take them, hey, find someone else, because the act of sponsoring is good as good as the suggestions being taken. If they're not being taken, then there's no sponsoring going on, really. Yeah. Then fuck it. Move on. Move it on to someone who's wanting or willing to be of help or to be helped. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers, Mel. Okay. Well, I think that's about right there, Paul. So, you want to say goodbye to everyone?
I do. But David, ask you the question.
It, strangely enough, you kind of answered. I was going to ask you about the conscious contact thing, and then you bloody well went and mentioned it. So we'll save it.
I want to talk about the conscious contact because I see conscious contact in a different way. Most people call the experience of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching consciousness, yes?
Mhm.
Because of consciousness, we can see, hear, feel, taste, touch. If we had 20 other gates, we could have 20 more different experiences, but we have 5. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, and it's consciousness that's having that contact, yes? So consciousness through the eyes is seeing, consciousness through the nerves are touching, consciousness through the nose is smelling, consciousness through the ears is hearing. So that's the conscious contact. That's how I see it. Yeah? And then the way I believe AA is presenting it is conscious contact with a specific non-thing, which is, let's say, God or the higher power. Yeah? Yes?
Yes, I'm listening.
So instead of, it's not telling us to improve our conscious contact through seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, but our conscious contact of something or nothing of a higher power. Yeah? So that's 2 ways. So I feel we're constantly in conscious contact all day. Yeah?
Yep.
I do. Yeah? And I believe we are the consciousness that's in contact. I don't believe I'm Paul in conscious contact. I don't. I think Paul's an idea hatched in the mental state, you know, claiming to be the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. So we claim to be the one who's conscious. I don't believe we are. I believe we're consciousness. So basically, we're trying to improve our conscious contact with consciousness. Yeah? So I believe we're in conscious contact right now. Yeah? So in the way AA is speaking it, we want to improve that conscious contact with that presence, and it gives us 2 methodologies, prayer and meditation. But the intention is to improve the conscious contact. It isn't to become a great prayer and a great meditator. Those are 1 or 2 ways, which could be millions of ways of improving the conscious contact with the presence or the higher power. Yeah? And so people in the program get stuck because some people aren't built for meditation. They're not. Their mind is too active. And so they figure, and maybe they don't pray, but if they go to meetings, they pray twice every meeting. And so now they feel like they failed step 11, but they feel the presence when they're hiking or swimming or doing service. So they are improving their conscious contact already. Yeah? And they just get stuck in these little names of prayer and meditation. But the whole intent isn't the prayer meditation, is to improve one's conscious contact. And they're actually doing it by walking in nature, yeah, looking at the sunset. And it's not getting tabulated as improving one's conscious contact because it doesn't fall under the category of prayer meditation. I think it's very limiting, yeah? I think once you get sober and recover, you're going to learn, you're going to see a lot of things are ways of improving your conscious contact to the higher power. Tons of shit. Yeah? Surfing, whatever. Watching a beautiful movie. They're all ways. I mean, we're not that crippled to only have 2 ways of prayer meditation. Yeah? So, yeah. That's how I see it. But I believe conscious contact is a fact. I think all of my contacts are conscious contact, yeah? All my contact through hearing, seeing, feeling, tasting, touching is consciousness, or let's say no thingness, being in contact with things, yeah? That's how I feel. So I use the statement conscious contact differently than they do in the book. Yeah. I believe I believe that which we're trying to contact, the higher power, is always available at all times, right where you are, because I can't see any difference between consciousness and the higher power. I don't see any difference in that. So I feel, I think the conscious contact improves the conscious contact. I don't see, yeah. So
it's always there, but we just occasionally, the parasite or everyone pulls the curtain back and we sort of acknowledge it, and then we put the curtain back and we get caught up in other shit.
Yeah, but the fact is, it's always there.
Yeah.
When the shit runs out, it's there. When the shit is running, it's there. And before the shit, it's there. What more reliable do you want? Just because you don't know it doesn't make it so or not so. That's what you come to. You come to, this idea of conscious contact completely dependent on me isn't the way I see it. My conscious contact is completely dependent on the consciousness. That works better. If it's based on me, I'm starting from the point that I'm not conscious, I'm not in conscious contact, or if I do any little thing, it exiles me from conscious contact. I don't want that to be the higher power. I don't want my head to be, I don't want my head's understanding of the higher power. That's how it's severely limiting. I want the higher power's understanding of my head. Yeah. It's just that simple. Why would I want to squeeze it into this fucking little box like one of these squares? Yeah, I would just give up the square and then shoo. Yeah, I mean, it's insane to me.
But is it true then that the more we draw back the curtain or we look at the box, as it were, then that...
But we don't draw back the curtain. Something draws back the curtain and then we see it. But we don't draw back the curtain. No way.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the case? You get changed and then something gets a sniff of that and then it has a story that I did something to promote the change. It's like anything that ever happens, the mental state tries to tag a narrative on it, yeah? And sometimes it's so off, you even see it. You go, wait a minute, that's ridiculous. I didn't choose to become sober. I got struck sober. You know what I mean? I was just trying to get loaded until I could get high. And then something stopped all that. And then a few days later, I chose to get sober. It's just made up shit. It's like a narrative looking for a fucking story. That's all it's doing all day. And then it just glues it, and then we just swallow it whole with no fucking... I mean, 10 minutes of just sitting down in an unbiased way, you'll see the whole thing. You'll see it. You'll see the head march out another story, combine a past story, and project a future story. It's just like on and on and on and on and on. Why? It never wins over the audience. It's always playing to the audience, yeah? From the first time it started, maybe when we were 4 or 5, till the last moment of life, the head's going to be trying to convince something in here that this is what's happening, yeah? You're fucked, or you're this, or you're that. You know what I mean? How many times are you going to swallow it? Rely on the awakeness. It's always available at all times. Rely on what's conscious. It's always available at all times. As long as you continue to stay alive, consciousness is going to be the animating principle. It is. Why not rely on that? It's more reliable than your breath. It's more reliable than your fucking blood pumping. It's more reliable than your thoughts. It's more reliable, definitely, than your story. It's more reliable than anything else you thought you could rely on. It's more reliable because it's here all the time. Here. Here, here, here. That's where you rest. Right before all of what you're not is what you are. You can't recognize it because it's not a thing. Yeah? You are spirit. That's the starting point. There's no way thing began and then no thing maybe shows up. No. Spirit is the context, appearances are appearing in it. Yeah? We have it ass backwards. We think the appearances are the reality and the spirit is fucking nothing. This is just a correction of that. Maybe we're off. Maybe what we're relying on is unreliable. Maybe the thought system is unreliable. Maybe it's based on a fucking false premise. Yeah? And we've been listening to it for 70 years and it's never delivered the goods. We've never stabilized into a chilled out, satisfied and content state. And you know what? We never will, based on listening to this. Never, ever. Yeah? It's a failed system. I mean, every one of us in all these squares have had a copious amount of evidence already. There's no need to keep researching. Yeah? Fucking, the verdict is in. You're fucked. Yes? Basically. Yeah, and now let's move on, all right? Let's lose interest in that which is worthy to lose interest in. The same old story? For 60 years, it's boring as fucking hell. Yes? You know, how many times can you be scared from what's not happening? How many times? You know? When are you going to put your foot down and have enough? Yeah? This is a mental slavery. And yet what is enslaved can never be enslaved. Yeah? What seems to be bound can never be bound. It's just a fact. Yeah? Let a little of that in your life. And maybe then you'll have the eyes to see and at least it's not a huge step to be able to see the difference between what's not happening, appearing in what's happening, and then the what's happening, the shit's appearing in. You can tell the difference. You can. This is not like a master's graduating PhD. It's simple observation. Yeah? Next week is not happening. It isn't. It's not happening. So let's honor at least what's happening and then render unto Caesar's what Caesar's, which is what's not happening. And I'm telling you, we paid way too much tax to that fucking Caesar. Yeah? We're paying for our own imprisonment. That's what we're doing. We're lending it light to shine on us like a fucking object to be critiqued and fucking hated and promoted and disguised and have secrets and all shit like that. When's it gonna fucking end? Yeah? Who wants to live in the fear of a problem that hasn't arisen for 32 years? Give me a freaking break. I mean, let's call it a fact-based life, yeah? A fact-based life instead of a false evidence appearing real life. What? I mean, you want to keep painting differences? What would a fact base look like? The ability to respond to what's happening, let's say that, yeah? And the ability not to react to what's not happening. That would be the common condition. You would not react to what's not happening, and you would respond to what's happening. Yeah? So let's start with that as the early building blocks. And then from there, you'll start seeing blue as blue and red as red. Things will become clear. Yeah. You'll rely on what's reliable and you won't rely on what's not reliable. Yeah. You'll be weaned off of all this bullshit and you'll be nourished by that living presence. Yeah. You won't take a story to be the end all be all. You'll take the living to be the end all be all. And you'll have a lot of gratitude and honor for what has come to pass in your life. Instead of constantly looking for what will come to pass, you'll be able to enjoy what is coming to pass now. So your premise will be based on being what you are, not becoming something else or unbecoming something else, but being what you are. These are simple, simple things. They're not like fucking mystical, esoteric, fucking some secret society. It's basic. All right, something got corrected, and then the correction feeds on itself, and more correction occurs. Yeah? And you're in the process to observe it and then express the corrections. Yeah? And perhaps to other people in the same dilemma, you will be a source of attraction, so the message won't be promoted, it will be attractive to others. Yeah? And you'll present the possibility, and that possibility will hit someone who thought it at one point was impossible. And now things become possible, and so it will go. And you'll start traveling lighter as a basis instead of traveling in anxiety as the basis. Yeah? And perhaps there is a better way. There you go. If I'm going to have to travel through life, I'd rather travel lighter than heavier. I would. Yeah? I would. If there was an option, all right, you got to do it. You got 80 years, let's say. You're going to have to do it. I can't guarantee it's going to be great every time. Shit may hit the fan, but here you go. But there is an option. You can either travel lighter through it or travel heavy through it. Which one do you want? Well, which one has me mostly? Well, the traveling heavy. Whoa, let me think then. I really want to be there. Maybe I can weather the storms and just be a super me. Or the other one would be an absence of you as the main character. Oh, I'll sign up for that one. Traveling lighter. Yeah. You can decide at any moment. Yeah. From this point on, you can travel lighter. Let's put it that way. Yeah. But the offer isn't to you. It isn't. That you cannot travel lighter. Yeah. Go for it. Yeah. Try to figure out how you can be there to get it. Well, it's not going to work. Self can't get out of self. You don't want to believe that. You're going to have to experience it. It's going to suck. You could bypass it, but if that's the way you learn, all right. Try to get out of self. See what happens. So perhaps there's a better way. We just put it out there. I enjoy the hell out of everybody coming here, and at least we can entertain some new freaking ideas, man. Hallelujah. I'm so tired of the same old. Really. Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
So at least like a dog, it goes like this. It makes me cock my head. Wait a minute. At least it's novel. Yeah? Please. So, all right. I'm really happy to see everybody.
Yeah.
See you, Samantha. I see you there. Mickey, always nice to see you, Mickey. Jim and Trish, always good to see you. We got Daz. Daz showed up some way. He's here. Johans, Dimitri. We got Mario walking his dog. Suka, Mika. Let me see. We got Jess. I love that spiritual subpoena, Jess. Very nice. Great. G, fantastic. I like the more subdued G. It's good. Mike, fantastic. David, Carl, you got a lot to offer, Carl. Danny, Mike Oldfield, Moira, nice to see you, Moira. We got Rob, always to see Rob. One day I'm going to meet you, Rob Farr. Mike Z, good to see you, Mike, always. Stevie B, UK. James, bring that back to the United Nations, Stevie, or I'm going to have to call This is a program of rigorous honesty. James Braun, especially when it concerns you. Dave, yeah, in the relief from the bondage of self. Woohoo! Xavi, Xavi, nice to see you, Xavi. We got Leslie here. We got Paul. Like the shirt, Paul. That's how it looks. My day looks right now. I love it. Let's see. I got him. I got these folks. Danny. Every one of these folks has stuck it through. Fantastic. Johan, Samantha, Mario still. Then we got these folks, and then we get Anonymous. So, hey, thank you so much. Samantha, nice to see you. You've got a lot of family, a lot of kids. That's good. Yeah. And, yeah, I'll see you guys. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Everyone.
And then we have a meeting after the meeting, so
Yeah.
go to it. Dave, you can call me later if you like, or tomorrow.
I will do. All right. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.